So I'm wondering if there can be
Yes,
heat
that's
over to,
Oh, it was electric?
forced, yeah. The same guy built our house and it, we had electric heat like
This one wall is a silver bookcase, and we concluded that it's four books with black binders, and they're to do with pirates or something. Can you go get them tomorrow? I go down there and they're right where he said.
At this time, I would call this hearing to order. It's about 7 minutes after 11, after we've corrected the audio issue. My name is Michael McHenry. I'm the hearing officer today, and it's my duty to conduct this public hearing on the zoning application that is before us today. I'm required to evaluate this application based upon the evidence that's presented at this public hearing, pursuant to the applicable standards.
It's hard to hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, I will start over then. As the hearing officer, it is my duty to conduct this public hearing on the zoning application that has been filed before us today.
Okay.
I am required to evaluate the application based upon the evidence that's presented at this hearing and pursuant to the applicable standards that are set forth in subsection 4. And based on the evidence, I will either recommend approval, modified approval, or denial of the application. There is a record that is being made, and a transcript will be prepared within the next 2 weeks. And following my recommendation, realize it's only a recommendation. If I approve this, then it goes to the next county board meeting, and a majority of the people at the county board meeting, if they approve it, that would allow it to be passed. If I do not approve this, then you would need 75% of the people in attendance at that meeting, the county board members, for its approval. And there are a few simple rules. If a person is making a statement, I ask that they do so clearly and audibly. If a question is asked, and it's a yes or no question, you must answer yes or no. You can't shake your head or say, mm-hmm. There are a number of people here today. Some of them may be in favor of this, some may not. And if you disagree with what is being presented, you'll have an opportunity to be heard, but I ask that you not interrupt any presentation that is being made. You will all be treated with respect, with the exception of Mr. Ray. And I ask that you also give respect to everyone else who is here today. And for the record, this is the variation request in the application of 2023-045. The applicant is Michael Isaac. As losing my voice, I can't even hear myself. Michael Isaac is the trustee of the irrevocable trust of Michael Isaac and Adam Sekoyak as trustee of the irrevocable trust of Adam Sekoyak. They are seeking a variation within the A1 agricultural district to allow a 6½ foot setback from the west side lot line instead of the minimum 10 feet required for an accessory structure. They're also seeking more than one ground sign to be located along the street frontage. And a third request is a reduced separation between ground signs of 28 feet instead of the minimum 50 feet required, and a minimum street setback of 0 feet instead of the minimum 10 feet required for the two signs, and a minimum east side yard setback of 0 feet instead of the minimum 5 feet required for a ground sign. The subject property consists of 32 acres and is located on the north side of Hebron Road, approximately 2/10 of a mile east of the intersection of Alden Road and Hebron Road in Alden Township. The common street address is 1702 Hebron Road, Harvard, Illinois. Tax ID or PIN is 0210100009. The current land use is designated single-family residential on the current land use map. The adjacent land use would be agricultural to the north and the west. To the south would be vacant. To the east would be single-family residential / agricultural. The current zoning is A1 agricultural, and the adjacent zoning to the north, south, east, and west would all be A1 agricultural. The 2030 plan designates this property as agricultural and environmentally sensitive on the McHenry County Land Use Plan. There's an improvement on the property, and the subject property contains a 2-story brick and frame residence, several accessory structures, 2 signs, and an asphalt and concrete driveway according to the plat of survey. There are some wetlands on the subject property, but they are not in the vicinity of the proposed improvement. There are no floodplains as identified on the subject property, and there is currently a violation 2023-211 that is currently open and pending for construction of a farm stand without proper permits. There is a permit K4769 that is currently pending for an agriculturally exempt structure, that being a farm stand. And there are standards that the applicant must address, and he's been a copy of that. And I would ask that anyone who is going to be making a statement today, and that would include anyone who is here to make a statement in favor or against, that you all be sworn and that you stand and be sworn in, please. So anyone that wishes to make a statement today, please stand. Yes. And do you all promise to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. To the applicant, what is your name?
Michael Isaac,
And Michael, where do you live or reside?
17020 Hebron Road,
And what is your request today?
for a variance for the farm stand and a variance for the 2 street signs.
And how long have you owned this property?
We've owned this property approximately a little bit over 2 years.
And when was the real estate developed with the house? When was that built?
The actual home that I live in,
Yes.
06?
Okay. Were you the one that constructed that?
No,
So you bought the property after that was constructed?
correct.
And what is the purpose of the farm stand? What are you trying to do?
The farm stand was originally created for our 2 children that asked for a farm stand at the end of the road. And we built an extravagant farm stand. They sell eggs and things that they make out of this farm stand.
Okay. And how many acres do you own?
It's about 60, 59 and some change.
And what is your business or occupation?
Primary use for the farm is Highland cattle, so we raise Highland cattle.
Okay, and are you the one that's responsible for that?
Yes.
Do you have any other business or occupation?
Oh, do I own any other businesses
Do you conduct any other business
at the property?
of any kind?
Oh, yes.
And what else do you do?
Oh, a plethora of things in the pet industry. We own companies that service and work in the pet industry.
And do you currently farm this property?
When you say farm, like agriculture, like hay, no. There's a small garden that the boys use to grow the items that they sell at the farm stand, but it would not be, we don't till hay or anything of that sort.
And when you say you made somewhat of an extravagant farm stand, can you explain that, please?
Yeah, it's a structure about 1,500 square feet. It has electrical. It was done with shiplap on the interior to, yep, there's a picture of it right now.
And did you have a permit for that?
No.
Were you required to have a permit for that?
Yes.
And what happened in that regard?
Honestly, we didn't know. We overlooked that and we should have gotten a permit originally.
And are you in the process of attempting to get a permit?
Yes.
And what's
It's already been submitted.
Okay, and what's the status of it in terms of approval or not being approved?
It's pending this hearing, correct, Kim?
Correct.
So that if you were granted your request in this hearing, you could complete that process, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And can you explain the situation regarding the sign?
Yes, so there are 2 street signs at the edge of the road here. They are placed as far back as they can. It does not meet the setback requirements. We were not aware of sign setback requirements when Kim spoke with us about the farm stand. She noticed these on the property when she was there and mentioned that, hey, we should ask for a variance and get the permit for these signs as well. Any further back, they would be behind the pine, they'd be behind the pine trees.
And the 2 signs that you're proposing, are they both located on your property?
Yes,
And the trees that you have behind the sign, whose trees are those?
those are ours. They're on the property.
When I'm looking to the left portion of your property and I see that second evergreen tree, whose tree would that be?
That would be out over here, on the left,
Yes.
ours.
Okay. And from the curbing that I'm seeing on that photograph, how far does your property then extend to the left as I'm facing your property?
Kim, do you know the exact dimensions? We did this.
No, but I can pull the survey up here if that will help. Here's the entrance.
Okay. Do you have anything that demonstrates or shows where the sign is in regards to the property boundaries?
Yeah, so the sign you can see on the plat of survey there, it's showing that it's 1.2 feet north of the right-of-way line.
Okay.
Like SJ, the sign indicating there, and over on the right side as well too.
All right, so as I'm facing the property, the sign that is shown on the left, Kim, is there any issue or problem with that sign?
Not that I'm aware of. I was out at the site and it did not block any sight lines or anything like that. It is probably about 20 to 25 feet off of the actual pavement of the road.
Okay. Is it into the right-of-way?
No.
Okay. Because it almost looks like it does sort of encroach a little bit into the right-of-way?
The indication by the surveyor there is that it's 1.2 feet north of the right-of-way line, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So we had a surveying company actually come out and do it. So this isn't our measurements, these are their measurements.
So the sign that's an issue would be the one on the right-hand side?
They both are requesting variances, so the one on the right is I believe it says 1.6 feet west of the lot line there, and 0.7 feet north of the right-of-way. So they are just barely inside the property boundary, but they are on the property.
And when did you have these signs installed?
2 years ago when we purchased the property.
And is there currently a complaint that's been filed against the signage?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
And you appear to have a number of neighbors here. Have you talked to your neighbors about what you are doing and what you have done?
With the sign, in regards to the signage? No, I'm unaware of any concerns.
Okay. And how about in reference to the farm stand? Have you talked to any neighbors?
No. Keith Kingsley, I apologize. So Keith Kingsley lives in the property to the west of us, and we have had discussions, yes.
Okay. When I see this many people show up at a hearing, I assume that there are some people who are either in favor of your request or some people who may not be in favor of it. Have you had any of your neighbors complain about what you're doing?
I'm not aware.
Okay, that may possibly change. Kim, can you tell me what the staff position is regarding this?
Staff does not have any objections. The site is pretty well screened. As I mentioned, I was out at the site and the signs don't cause any sightline issues for traffic leaving the site or coming onto the site or driving past. It seems like a reasonable request, so we don't have any objections to it.
And what's the typical traffic volume on that roadway?
It seems to be pretty low, at least from when I was out there.
And can you describe the nature of the area?
It is very agricultural, lots of mature trees up and down the roadway. And as you mentioned, low traffic. So yeah, it doesn't seem like anything that would be a big visual barrier for anybody in the area.
And the type of lot that he has, would you agree or disagree that that's what we always call a flag lot?
Correct.
So he has very limited frontage onto Hebron Road?
Correct.
Okay. And is there anything else that you wish to say at this particular time?
No.
And I've given you a copy of the standards. Can you take a look at that?
Mm-hmm.
The first standard is the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out. Can you address that and explain your response, please? You did type in a response on your application.
Correct. Yeah. So when you say hardship, so are we talking about the signs or are we talking about the farm stand?
You can address either or both.
I'll blanketly answer. So the signs are in place, so any visitors or deliveries will know exactly where we're located. As you guys mentioned, we have very small frontage, and even folks that go by with the signs miss us quite frequently. The farm stand, the hardship would be we spend an exorbitant amount of money building these for our kids, and the farm stand is there to service the community and provide eggs and things that they grow and sell.
And in regards to the second standard, the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district. Can you respond to that?
Again, unique would be having a farm stand with items that were produced from the farm available. Road signage, I would say that's not necessarily unique. There are signs for farms all along Heman Road.
Part of the uniqueness would be the fact that you are a flagged lot, is that correct?
Yeah, you're right.
And you have a very narrow access to your property.
Correct.
And number 3 is somewhat probably backwards.
Yeah.
Other than the increased monetary gain, are you doing this for a monetary gain?
No.
So what is the purpose of what you're seeking to do?
For the farm stand, the purpose of the farm stand was for my children to understand commerce and retail, for them to sell products. They used to have a little stand by the edge of the road, which my husband and I didn't like the dangers of them going out to the road and putting stuff in this little farm stand. So we decided to build them a safer structure. And for the signage, I mean, we've talked about this a couple of times. With us having a narrow lot, no one really can see our address without these signs.
You mentioned the children. Can you tell me how many children and their ages?
We have twin boys. They're 9 years old, almost 10, going on 22, it seems like some days.
And question number 4, or standard number 4, can be looked at from different perspectives. But the standard is, did you, the property owner, or past owners create the difficulty or hardship that the variation seeks to relieve?
No. Do we create it? No.
You were not the one that divided this property in the nature of a flag lot, were you?
No, and we were not the ones that planted the trees at the road either.
You, however, were the ones that put the signs in the ground in the current location.
That is correct.
And did you have any other place that you could put the one more offensive sign other than the position that you put it in?
No, it's literally nestled into the trees, so no. If we could, but you wouldn't be able to see it from the roads. It would be.
And will the variation be detrimental? Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Will the variation be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood?
No.
And can you explain that?
The signs are, and the farm stand are of standards that I would consider beautification. They do not add any sort of degrading value to the community.
Standard number 6, will the variation impair an adequate supply of light and or air to adjacent property, increase congestion on the public streets, increase the risk of fire to adjacent property, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood?
No.
And staff has indicated that these signs do not in any way impair traffic. Would you agree with that?
Agreed.
And they're set far enough back that they're not going to interfere with anyone's sight lines. Would you agree or disagree?
Agreed.
and the level of the roadway in front of your property. Can you describe that? Is it level? Is it uphill, downhill, curving? Straight?
In front of the signs, there is a ditch that then makes its way to the main road.
Okay, but what about the levelness of the roadway?
So if you look here, when you say levelness, like the middle picture or bottom, it shows a ditch where you see that sign there that's pointing towards the
Let me ask staff, what is the condition of the roadway in front? Is it straight, is it curved, is it uphill,
It is
downhill?
pretty straight at that point.
Okay, so there's no impediment to traffic because of these signs?
I don't believe so.
And the next one's kind of an odd question, but will this requested variation confer special privilege upon you, the property owner, that is denied to other owners within the same zoning district? Let me ask it this other way. If some neighbor were to have a similar situation and make a similar request, would you agree that they should be allowed to do that, or would you be opposed to that?
I would agree.
We have some people that do want to make a statement. I would ask the first person, whoever wishes to step forward and make a statement.
So I got some complaints.
Can you step forward, please? I'm sorry.
Little arthritis issues.
Please take a seat if you're uncomfortable. For the record, would you state your name, please?
William Deegan,
And can you spell your last name?
Deegan,
And where do you live?
17006 Hebron Road, Harvard, Illinois, 60033.
And where is that in reference to the property in question?
That would be the east side of their property.
So you're an adjacent property owner?
Adjacent property owner, correct.
And how many acres do you own and how long?
About approximately almost 7,
And how long have you lived there?
18 years.
Do you do any farming activity or raise any animals on your property?
We don't per se, we have hay fields that they cut out, and that's one of my complaints. If you look on the property, the road, right, the corner right there, probably about where that white stuff is, it's a hay field there, our hay field.
Okay.
If you look out their building, that's our hay field to the east of it. And where the one sign is on, the one sign is right on our property border, and they have a couple of lights that are actually on our property, based on the survey that they just had done. The signs don't bother me too much. That I don't care about. But since they built their property, if you go put a picture up of the building, if you could, please. Look at how the cement's there in the building. Since they built that building now, we've been here 18 years. Right to the east, the other side of the driveway, back there is our property. That field, this year we were under extreme drought. You check the National Weather Service. We've been there 18 years. That field's been dry. The guys come in there and they cut the hay and take it. This year they came out there in July, during the drought year, the field was ankle deep in the water. They couldn't even cut the hay. He run in there, got his tractor stuck, took it out, and went come back and cut it anymore. So we got property out there, and then we got a strip of woods and another field. They wouldn't take any of it because of the water in there.
Do you feel that the farm stand or the asphalt is somehow contributing to
Yes,
that?
but none of that was there. Now, they've also back there on their property. I don't know if your committee is aware, but how many buildings have you guys built back there without permits on the property?
They have permits and they're aware.
Everybody, all them all the chicken coop, the duck house, you got permits for all those.
Absolutely.
Because the last time we checked with the county, the only permit you had, they said was for a deck. That's what the county told us.
Yep.
They have since been applied for and issued, the permits for all the
One at a
structures.
time.
Okay.
Did they have permits to build the dam and the creeks back there, ponds back there? Because I believe that's contributing to what's flooding our property.
So I know that our stormwater division has been contacted about any violations, but there was nothing that was found when our inspectors went out to the site. The stormwater division has already signed off on the farm stand, so they did look into that as far as any drainage concerns, and they did not have any concerns with that.
And I understand your concerns, and they may be very valid but it's also possible that some of your concerns may not relate to what's in front of me today. The stormwater management is a very seriously run operation, and they do not look lightly at things, and they take things very seriously. That may be where you need to address what other concerns that you have. It may be possible to talk to your neighbor to try to figure out a way to avoid some of the problems. I don't know if there's a way to make a swale or a bit of a berm that protects your property.
Well, in the property, when they built this building, they also put sewer pipe out there. Do they have permits for that and engineers that said they could do that? They've changed the way the water flows and drains all over back there. You're saying that the
So I would recommend talking to our Water Resources Division in our department because they were the ones who reviewed that. I'm not sure if that was indicated on the application or not, but they would be the ones to look into that.
The other issues I have with the building, there's people in and out of that farm stand. It's open 24 hours a day. There's people in and out of there all day and all night. When I'm out there mowing my property, I got people stopping and asking me why I got all them lights on all night, that they're blinding them when they come down the road. Why, you know, you look out my house and you see this stuff. People pull into that farm stand, their dogs are running out in my field. There's just all kinds of traffic issues over there. They're building all these buildings. I've had, the one day I go to leave my house and there's this truck in my driveway. And it's like a Menard's truck, what lumber delivery. They got the fork truck, the tow motor, the forklift off the back of it. They're taking stuff off. The guy starts yelling at me because I told him he's got to move his damn truck. So I got to get out of my house. And they're yelling at me because they got to get their load. They got to go over there on their property. Don't do it on mine. There's constantly cars in and out. It's a traffic issue over there. You know, I look out my kitchen window, I see this building. I actually feel like, too, it's probably lowered my property value because of that. You look right out my house, you see that building. It's, you know, you sit on my front porch, I look at that building. It's not a commercial area there. If they would have put their little farm stand they had out at the road over there and made a gravel parking lot, there probably wouldn't have been any kind of issue. But, you know, I understand what but they're also selling products in there that them boys aren't making. I've never been in there. But I've seen pictures and stuff on Facebook. They're selling stuff, the animals and this and that. It's not related to agriculture. There's pictures in there for sale, T-shirts in there for sale, and hoodies, hats. They're not making that stuff there. That's commercial. They're using it as a commercial property.
Bear with me 1 second, if you will.
Okay.
So Kim, the purpose of this hearing is really focused on these signs that have been installed, correct?
And the setback for the
And the
farm
setback.
stand, correct.
But in terms of the permit for the farm stand, how does the farm stand fit into this hearing today? What's the issue?
So the setback on the northwest corner of the farm stand to the property line is 6.5 feet. It's required to be 10, so it is that reduction that is causing the need for the variance on that. The farm stand itself is allowed by right in the agricultural district. If I can address, I had a previous conversation with the property owners as far as the merchandise in the shop, that would only be allowed to be an online sales. It would not be able to be sold at like retail out of the building. So I did not go in the building when I was out at the site. Is that still in there, or does it need to be?
That product still is in there,
Okay.
and we had discussed moving that product when we go to the permitting stage. That product is sold online. So most of that product is packaged there in the back part of the building with the boys to sell it online.
Yeah, if it's in the back and it's being
That's
packaged
what it
there, that's fine. It just can't be sold retail out of the front of the store.
And if we did, we would move over to agritourism. So you and I talked about this.
Yes.
Okay, but in terms of things like hours of operation, et cetera, those are not really part of this hearing
No,
today.
agricultural uses do not have any limitations on hours. Depending, I mean, it doesn't matter what size building it is, if he had the stand at the side of the road like he previously had, same thing, could have people coming any time of day for that.
But the request for the variation pertains to the farm stand being too close to the neighbor's property, is that correct?
Correct.
And that would be the neighbor who is here today objecting, is that correct?
No, he
Trees on that.
does not live on that side.
Okay. So the request for the variation for the side yard setback does not involve the neighbor who is currently objecting.
It's not on that side, correct.
So where is he in reference to the farm stand?
I believe you said you're just to the east of the
Correct.
driveway?
Correct.
So,
Can you show that on
so I believe this one right here? Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be, yeah, that should be us, correct.
now I'm confused.
Here, I'll zoom in. So the farm stand is on the west side of the driveway.
Correct.
About, do you know how far back that is? About 100?
I'd have to look at the.
I didn't see a measurement on the survey, but it is quite a ways back there. And then his property is just on the east side where that hayfield.
Okay, but that arrow that's pointing,
That's just a zoomed in version of the
all right, but that's not pointing to his hayfield. His
No.
hayfield would be on the other side.
other side, correct?
You can see on that picture right there,
Okay, the circle?
the grass right there, the grassy area, that's ours, that's us. Right to the right side of the driveway there, right in there, that would be our hayfield.
Is that the hayfield you're complaining about?
Yes, that's where the water, that field has been flooding. And they never flooded before till this year, and we had a drought year this year. So some water had been running onto there and into our property. Now, right at the end of this field is only about maybe, I don't know, this is a rough guess, I'm guessing maybe 200 feet wide, then our house sits right there. I don't know if you can blow that up, or if you have pictures of that, I'm no technical guy, you got the wrong guy when it comes to dealing with that. But, when you sit in our house, you look out our windows, we see that building. Now, we used to have deer and turkeys and stuff come up in our field, and they're not there anymore because of the buildings and all the lights and all the commotion over there. That's part of the country living, is they have the wildlife roaming around your yard and,
I'm not suggesting that your complaint is not valid, but I don't see how what he has done would cause your hayfield to flood. Do you have any ideas to why?
all that water running down off of that cement into the field, where does it go?
Okay, but
Go back to the farm stand. Picture, see the cement? The cement goes right up to the edge of their driveway. And then it goes across there, and we're right on the other side of the driveway, so that goes up to the driveway. They own maybe 30 or 40 feet wide strip from the road going back a quarter mile, like they said. So all that cement, that was all field, the building and everything. Now we've got waters running down into our field. See how they got the cement out in front, big cement parking lot?
how far is the edge of the cement to the edge of your hayfield?
Maybe less than 50 feet, 40, 50 feet.
Okay.
I mean, it's a guess, I never went out there with a tape measure. We, they got their driveway, from where their driveway sits, our property starts 15 feet to the east side of their driveway. This is not that far, they're right up almost to the driveway.
All right, did they put the driveway in or did someone?
No, the driveway was there when we purchased the house. But none of this was all just field, grassland, where the building is and the cement is, and That was all, none of that has been there till, they just built it a year ago. And up until before that, we never had, in the spring, when the snow, when the heavy spring, it might be flooded for a week or two, but it would be gone. This year, like I said, it came into the end of July or August, there in a drought, and they couldn't even cut the grid because there was too much water in it.
And again, Kim, he may or may not have valid complaints, but they are technically not part of this hearing today, are they?
Correct. They would be part of the stormwater management ordinance that you would discuss with our Water Resources Division. As I mentioned, they did review this and did not have any concerns with any runoff or, displacement of water or anything like that. So.
You can go back to them. There's nothing I can really do or consider today in reference to your concerns. That's just not part of it. You could conceivably talk to your neighbor, and maybe the two of you can work something out. There may be some way to berm or to do something. I don't know, but there's nothing I can do for you today. Do you have any other concerns?
No, just other than, like I said, I feel that farm stands do lower the value of our property. Why would somebody want to move out there in the country and buy that and look at a commercial building, traffic and, and there's people in and out there all hours of the day and night. They're out there at 6 in the morning. They're out there at 11, 12 o'clock at night. They're just, it's not related to agriculture, daytime of day and night.
Do you have people coming all 24 hours a day, or what's?
Okay, so let me comment on a couple of things. So I was unaware of a water issue. I think we should go out there and look at it if there's any kind of landscaping changes or what we could. I don't even know enough to comment to say there's water going through there. So I think that if there's landscaping changes, of course. I mean, I was unaware that there was any sort of water issue.
They won't take the hay this year because of it.
I don't know how I would know that.
So I gotta find a new guy now too. This guy was paying us for it. Now I gotta go find somebody new to do it. They've been doing it for at least 10 years or 12 years. They've been out there doing it.
Sure. So if there is an issue, let's look to see how to resolve that. The farm stand is open 24/7, but to give a little perspective, and I could pull the numbers from the boys, I think they have 6 customers a week that transact in there. I could look at the cameras to see if there's ever any late night. It would be odd to me to see a late night person there, but we don't live down at the end of the road, so I wouldn't know that, but I can certainly pull the data to see if there is.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard today? A couple of people got sworn in. Do you want to step forward?
I don't have a statement or nothing. My concern is putting the push signs in on my property.
Yeah, I wish you'd have said something too before. I'll say something to the team. They should have never put them over there.
I mean, I don't mind you putting it right across your driveway.
Yeah.
But when you're putting them north, to the west.
Yeah.
Then people start pulling in my
Sure.
driveway thinking I'm selling.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I wasn't aware until you said something. Now it makes sense to me, but I can make sure the farm team doesn't do that.
Okay.
Would you state your name for the record, Ms.
Mike
Bush,
Schmidt, SCHMIDT,
and your address?
17119 Hebron Road, Harvard, Illinois.
Do you have anything else you wish to add today?
Just the lights, I don't, like he says, the wildlife, we have turkey and deer, and when everything's lit up all night long, it's
Do you mean like the lights on the
the
signs?
signs and your building.
Yeah.
I walk out to get my mail or
Sure.
get the newspaper, it's dark out and it's lit up
Yeah.
like a city.
Exactly.
And, we're in
Sure.
the country.
And we're fine with turning them off. We run with the risk of making sure somebody doesn't come over and get hurt. Yeah, because it's pitch black dark, so I've got to let me think through how to make sure that we mitigate somebody coming on without lights to make sure that maybe there's ways to turn off the lights on the top and things of that sort. But yeah, I had no idea there were any concerns, so this is the first time. So I would say, I encourage you guys to feel free to come talk to us.
Like I said, just
Anytime.
don't put the signs
Yeah.
up around the whole,
Sure.
I don't mind you right across your driveway, but otherwise people start pulling in my driveway.
Makes sense.
Where's the eggs? Where's the
Yeah. We need to start paying you commission then. I don't think the boys would like that.
I get complaints from people pulling in my driveway all the time, looking for the eggs. Why you got this over there? I don't go over there. It's nothing to do with me. We get that. And now I'm not out by the sign and out by the road in the front, by the sign. That sign, that doesn't bother me. It's right on the border. You're splitting hairs. It's probably less than a foot or two off, and I don't care. A couple of their lights are probably actually on my property, if you look at the survey stakes from their surveyor. And I don't care, and also their driveway, I don't know if they did that or the people before them. The driveway's fine, but at the end, they got it fanned out. I don't know if these guys, I can't remember if these guys.
No, we didn't do the driveway.
I don't mind that it's on my property, and I don't care about the lights over there. But we're only gonna be there a few more years, maybe 4 or 5 more years. If a new owner comes, they want that stuff out of there, you know, I don't wanna be having to deal with, because it's on our property. Or, you know what I'm saying, you know, the lights and stuff that are actually on our property. So I don't wanna, like, say some kind of thing here too, and then you guys come back and somebody don't wanna buy our property, because it's on, the lights are on our property, you know, now, you know, you get what I'm saying? We go to sell it, and the lights are on our property.
I can speak to some of that. So first of all, until we did the survey, we had no idea where the line was.
Well, you guys have done all that before you did all
Yeah,
this.
we're shocked that, no. I mean, like, the people that owned the property before us, they put all the trees and everything in.
But they're all on their side of the property, and as you said, and the key thing, if you guys would've came, we could've maybe worked something out, and maybe move that building back a little bit further. So, you know, right now, we look out our kitchen window and our dining room window, we're looking at your building. That's what we see when we look out our window. You know, with Bud and Diane, it's the people you purchased the house from, anything they did, they came and asked us, the walls that are out there, when they fix this, when they come over, we're gonna do this, this, and this, you guys, you know, you guys mind. They cleared out the road and stuff, because Diane couldn't see coming out of the driveway. We had no issue with it, but they came and told us, and and like I said, if they would've came to us before they built this, and so we would've asked, hey, maybe put it down, you know, 25 feet back further, so we don't have to look at it, you know. I'm not trying to be mean, but, you know, we're in the country, we like to sit outside on our deck on our porch in the dark and look at all these lights and build, you know, it's not, I don't live next to Walmart, basically.
I was honestly expecting to hear somebody complain about roosters. That's normally what happens with eggs.
We had chickens on our property, we used to go out and roam around, and I don't care about the chickens, they keep, I've never seen their chickens up on our property. One time, their cattle were up there, but they were right out there chasing them back. It was early in the morning one day, they were out there, they had 5 or 6 people out there trying to chase them back, I guess. Supposedly their fence broke or something, so I don't have an issue with that either, if it's an occasional thing, but just, you know.
Is it possible to move the building?
No, that's not possible.
Kim, what are the rules of the county regarding light leaving the property boundaries?
So the ordinance asks that any new installations of lights be shielded. With an agricultural exempt structure, we do not do plan review on the types of electrical that are going in there. If they are unshielded, it could cause an issue. What type of lighting is on there?
They're shielded, they go straight toward the signs, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so and then are there lights on the building itself or just?
Oh, cool, like, can lights underneath the awning.
Oh, but nothing shining like up from?
There are 2 lights shining up onto the word farm stand up there.
Oh, they shine at the word?
Yes.
Yeah, those would be considered acceptable for our ordinance, because they are shielded and they're angled away from neighboring properties, so that would be okay.
The reflection off of that white building,
It's lit up like, it's like, it looks like a runway out there, I'm waiting for a jet to land out there, that's how bright it is, that's what. And I actually have people come down, when I'm out mowing or when people pulling our driveway, why you got all them lights over there? They're not mine.
I mean, you certainly could consider putting in a lower wattage, it's not something that we can regulate, or, you know, it's really more of a civil matter.
Sure.
If you wanted to choose to do that, but it is not something that our ordinance regulates, the brightness.
Yeah, and again, it's not something that I have any power or jurisdiction over in terms of this hearing, but by being a good neighbor, they seem like very decent people. You may want to go talk to them.
Sure.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to be heard?
One other issue, I don't know, now you're saying that you're gonna, we were told by the fire chief of Hebron, which covers our area, that they had 10 violations for the fire department on that building. I don't know if they've since been corrected, but he said they had violations within that building. So I don't know if you make sure that they have to correct these before, I don't know what they were, he didn't elaborate. He just said he couldn't believe that the violations he found out there. He told us this one night while we were eating at Crandall's restaurant, he was there and he told us. He said he was surprised that the county wasn't out there doing something about it. So by what he
I'm not
told me.
I'm not aware of any,
Any
and
fire
if we're talking
violations.
with the police chief, he actually wrote the letter to the county.
You said with the fire chief, I thought.
We're
Oh,
not
the
aware
fire
of
chief, I'm
any.
sorry. The fire chief had to write the letter approving the building, and he was out there.
Right, that's all we asked for is just a sign off from the fire district, and we didn't hear anything about any
Well,
violations.
he told us at the restaurant that there was a bunch of violations back there. Maybe they were corrected since then, I don't know.
Anybody else have anything else to add? Okay. All right. Kim, anything else that you wish to?
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, the requests that were made were relatively simple and typical of what we have at this type of a hearing. I was a little surprised to see as many people here, what I consider to be originally a fairly minor series of requests. And I understand everyone's concerns and issues, but they're not necessarily directly applicable to what is in front of us today. Hopefully, property owners will be good neighbors and attempt to address some of the issues that were resolved today. But in terms of the requests that are currently pending, I would be in favor of these requests, and I would recommend their approval to the county board. I can't condition based on your concerns.
But my question is, why do you guys even have building zoning? I mean, they can build wherever they want, do whatever they want. Why do you have zoning? They built all these buildings back there with no permits. This one's not even supposed to be there. Had they would've got a permit, you guys would've told me they couldn't build it there. Had they would've been a decent neighbor and came and said something about it, we would've told them, put it back, you have to go further back. You know, that's,
I don't,
Is the hearing closed, are we off record now?
yeah,
or are you-
we'd be closed then.
Because you've made your recommendation. Okay. It's up to you if you want to have conversation, but it is off record.